Welcome to our channel. In an exclusive interview with Nwaeke Implicated, former Rivers State Chief of Staff Edison Ehie addresses the controversy surrounding the burning of the State Assembly complex. Ehie, who has been at the center of the storm, opens up about his involvement and makes some startling allegations against Nwaeke. Let's dive into the details of this explosive interview.
I'd like you to be able to explain to Nigerians what really went down and your role in these heavy allegations that have been leveled. But first and foremost, the information that we have is that yourself, Dr. Nwaeke, and Governor Fubara were an item. You were very close. He's very close. He knows the ins and outs in the government house and the runnings of government. Is that true?
Well, Mr. Shield, thank you for having me, like I earlier mentioned. To respond swiftly to your question, that is not true. George Nwaeke, the former head of service, had no political nor intimate relationship with us, be the governor of Rivers State, elected by Rivers people. As Nwaeke Fubara, nor myself. You know that George Nwaeke was a civil servant and his responsibilities are clearly applying. As head of service, the closest he gets to the governor is at the executive council meeting. And if he has something that he wants to relate to the governor, which, quote and unquote, relates to civil servants, he needs to seek appointment to the governor and be cleared by the DSS in charge of security in government house. Judge Nwaeke and myself, nor the governor, had never had any meeting jointly or severally at all, not talk of something as far-reaching as political discussion. Not a politician. He does not, he heard from his local government, Omoma local government area. He does not even partake in critical local government political discussions. It's because he's a career civil servant, appointed by extension of his tenure by the governor to be head of service who was doing contract. So that is totally out of it. He has never been part of us politically. He is a career civil servant, and even when the governor needs to clarify issues or discuss things with him that has to do with civil servants, it is based on appointment. So at what point are we going to sit down with George Nwaeke to discuss issues that has to do with politics? So that's totally out of it. They just needed somebody who has a little level of hierarchy in government circle to score cheap and but failed political points.
So if you look at what is happening, would you regard Nwaeke as perhaps a very influential person who knows the ins and outs of government in Rivers State, whom you will refer to as issues regarding contract, issues regarding policy and governance pass through his table quite often? Is that right?
Totally correct. George Nwaeke, as former head of service, like the name implies, head of service, it has to do with civil servants purely. So when you say influential, what influence does it wield? His responsibilities were purely to issues related to him that has to do with civil servants. He's not even the chairman of the Civil Service Commission. But as head of civil servants, his responsibilities were purely when and if the governor didn't see fit to immediate certain memos to him, and when he sent memos, in particular as it has to do with civil servants, then he responds or makes his contribution. So it does not wield any particular or influential role that has to do with Rivers State or the governance of Rivers State. But granted, his responsibilities are defined, are clear, and if you be sincere to elect him, he has copies of the memos that have been exchange between him and the governor of Rivers State from when he became civil servant. So he will be able to outline where he has played outstanding or crucial role as it has to do with governance.
Well, if you like to say the way you portrayed it, so it doesn't, in an unofficial capacity, visits that you are aware of, because you are perhaps one of the closest person or an ally to Governor Fubara. To your knowledge, are there moments where Mr. Nwaeke has been in an unofficial capacity visited the home or the residence of the governor to carry out any official duty or to see the governor, and that you three were there together? Can you remember any of those instances?
There is none. Let me give you instances. There are several instances where anyone working with the governor or Mr. President, as long as you have an appointment, even those who don't have appointments, now you have a relationship with the governor or anybody in government, can visit unofficially. Take, for instance, George Nwaeke's daughter got married last year. He visited me, gave me the card, and I attended. He visited the governor, gave him the invitation card. He visited several others. That's one of the instances on unofficial visit. So are other several visits that can occur. So you can send the governor a message to say, I want to see you, I have issues with my family, I need you to help me, and the governor can grant you this. But George Nwaeke has never, it's not even in the protocol list of those who can have uninterrupted access to the governor. So I wonder, when
are there moments where I don't know how you keep track of the visitation and an official visit of the governor to the governor by any of government officials? Are there records to keep track or to say this was the last time Dr. Nwaeke saw the governor, Fubara?
Yes. The records are in government house. In fact, the security clearance of government house, which I superintend or supervise, are with the DSS. I challenge George Nwaeke to mention from the 29th, like he said, he claimed, to other dates where he visited government house, either at odd hours, different, without prior clearance from the VSS, to say that he discussed with the governor. Let me show you records. Or let us engage.
I just wanted to let our viewers understand the relationship as established, because in the inference that one could pick in Dr. Nwaeke's submission is as to the fact that he inferred that there was some cordiality in terms of working relationship and some unofficial relationship between yourself, himself, and the governor. But let's take the allegations one after the other, because these allegations are heavy, relating to arson, relating to issues that one will find very, very disturbing. Let me take it one after the other. I'll play the tape again of the allegations of arson that you masterminded alongside, in collusion with Governor Fubara. That is what he alleges. Let me play it to our viewers to understand or listen. This is the point where he alleged that the demolition and the arson on the State of Assembly was masterminded by yourself and Governor Fubara. Take a listen, everyone.
Not sacked. Neither was I pressured to resign. I did so willingly from the depth of my heart. However, as an insider and a key player in the administration, and by my position, who worked closely with the suspended governor, it would be unfair for me to keep mute. It all started with the State House of Assembly, where the governor, Nwaeke Fubara, directed his chief of staff to burn down the assembly in a way to avert the suspected impeachment. That evening, Edison was in Government House with many of his boys, including the former chairman of Obiakpo, one Mr. Chijoke Ihunwo. I was there with them when a bag of money was handed over to Edison for that operation, though I did not actually know what it was meant for or the amount inside. I want to tell Rivers people today, the House Assembly was complex. In Moscow Road was clearly brought down by the do of Edison and some of his cohorts.
He landed to say under the instruction of Governor Fubara. Now, let me allow you to respond to this. Why, based on the allegations, why would you do such a thing, Honorable Ehie?
Well, I will not join issues completely with Mr. George Nwaeke because I've already instructed my lawyer to file issues of criminal libel against George Nwaeke, and I hope he's very prepared to come and substantiate this claim and these allegations, if it were. But just to buttress a little light, because we're in the process of making peace, and Mr. President has already intervened, the father of the nation, who we respect very much. And mind you, this interview, I'm not holding brief for my principal, the governor of Rivers State, elected by Rivers people. But it's very important to clarify that I was not, I had no hand, that was a part of the burning down of the Rivers State House of Assembly. Like everyone else, I woke up the early hours of 30th of October 2023 to hear of the burning down of the Rivers State House of Assembly. And it's unfortunate that George Nwaeke, to satisfy his hunger for emergency riches at his age, having served over 35 years, can be bullied into making such allegations. And clearly to note that the world has seen that George Nwaeke was not speaking from his right frame of mind. You can see that immediately after his interview, moments later, we watched where his wife, who supposedly should be the closest person to him, was interviewed not by phone but by channels, your station. She was crying and mentioned names, including Dr. Harry Ogiri from Abua, Odua local government area of Rivers State, who has been his longtime friend, as those who called him over. Harry Ogiri is the leader of that local government in the FCT minister's camp, political camp. And of course, if you watch that video, the amateur video and subsequent videos that came up from other stations, you see where voices were coming up from the background, and you can ask your friends from Rivers State who are from a H.E. extraction. You would hear those who were telling George Nwaeke from the background, read from the script that we have given you, verbatim, say it as it is. That's a native interpretation of it. And it brings us to the fact that last week, I have everything I tell you here, I have evidence. And you see, that is why they have fought so hard to see if they can apprehend me. But I don't go anywhere, I'm always at home. So if you want to apprehend me, kidnap me, you have to come to my house. So I have evidence. One, Kelechi Ogu, who was my colleague at the assembly, a member of the representatives, we intercepted a message he sent to a WhatsApp platform. Voice notes and messages. Before he could delete it, we intercepted, where he was instructed that ensure you implicate Edison Ehie in that arraignment. It's here on my phone. So it's the same thing that happened to George Nwaeke. If you see, George Nwaeke resigned on Monday, the 24th of March. But from Tuesday, you can see the messages which I shared. This is my phone. You can see the messages I shared, where George Nwaeke was appealing that he should not be abandoned, that he has resigned because of his conscience. This is his phone number. This is George Nwaeke's phone number. This is his phone number, George Nwaeke.
Did you send this message to?
Where he said, yes, he sent it by. So if we go, when it gets to the time where we need to sit down in this criminal libel, he cannot deny, because this is this registered phone number known and God.
Send it to.
Everybody has it.
Who did he send it to?
This is it. He sent to me.
What was he
This
saying?
is his phone.
So was he pleading for something, or what exactly
Yes,
is the content?
He was appealing that the governor should give him money, that in fact he is packing out for the official residence. He doesn't have a house within town to live. He doesn't have money, and that he should not be abandoned. Look at. Now, yesterday, he deleted some, not knowing that I had already munched the message which I shared online.
So let me understand this timeline, Honorable. So he resigned on Monday. When was it that he sent this message?
He resigned on Monday. On Monday, he resigned. From that Monday, he started sending message. See, tell me when to see you tomorrow. I sincerely want to see you. I have some smart and actionable ideas we need to work on to regule the hands of these vandals of our state. This is with George Nwaeke.
So when this happened,
I have printed these messages and they have been certified.
Now,
because you know these people, they can do anything to frustrate you.
Now, what do you think was going on? If I send this message to you, perhaps you are thinking that it's trying to reach out to the governor and be on the side of the governor. So what happened so rapidly between Monday and Friday that it came out alleging raising all of those claims?
The problem is that of contentment.
How much did the governor give him? How much did the governor give him after that Monday?
George Nwaeke is not a contented man. So he just feels that, I have left this position. What will I be doing now? Who will help me? How will I survive? You see where he told me that his basic salary was less than 500,000. So that's why Nigerians are asking, how did you lodge in Transcorp? It's a very clear thing. You see where immediately that same day, his picture emerged with Kelechi Wogu, all of them. Because it is obvious that these are people who...
How much, Honorable, how much did the governor give him after that Monday?
The governor wouldn't have given him money because he resigned according to his messages and what he told everybody. He resigned voluntarily, that he couldn't serve in a government that Governor Siminala Ifeoma was not the governor. But because he was complaining of hunger, rising from the fact that he was not contented, he had to reach out, and they reached out to him. He betrayed his conscience. He betrayed his family. He betrayed his children.
Did the governor respond to him at all? Or is it because the governor did not respond to him, that is why he switched side?
Well, I've told you that the summary is about contented. He was not contented. He felt that he needed to own the world. This is the problem. So when they reach out to you and you lack contentment, you will fall prey. He is not the first, he will not be the last.
Let me ask you quickly, and this is also concerning though, because the question I asked that led to this is the allegation that you are involved, and you have not been able to clarify the extent of your involvement, or whether or not you are not involved in the arson or the demolition of the State House of Assembly complex. Because according to him, he said bags of money were given out for your boys, according to him, to carry out the demolition. And he said that there was also another person there, which means that there are witnesses to this matter. Now, there is also a very popular opinion out there that the governor was involved in the demolition of the State House of Assembly. And this is from the president on the state of emergency speech. And I'll read what the president, Bola Tinubu, said. He said, quote, "Also, it is public knowledge that the governor of Rivers State, for unjustifiable reasons, demolished the House of Assembly of the state as far back as the 13th of December 2023, and has up till now, 14 months later, after not rebuilt it." End of quote. How do you defend this? The monies, your boys that you said, and the witnesses. Can you defend yourself?
I'm sure you watched days ago when the administrator in company of the resigned head of service, Judge Nwaeke, visited the House of Assembly complex, where the administrator himself, Rear Admiral Ibas retired, confirmed that the job is 80% completed and the contractor has been completely paid. So funding is not an issue. So this is an issue of misinformation. Anybody who has given brief decided to be misinformed the federal government. But we are not joining issue with Mr. President because he's part of the nation, and we believe in that it is the wisdom he has taken steps and actions that are in the best interest of Rivers State, Rivers people, and Nigeria. But for those who are around and who have been sending wrong information and updates. That being said, you asked an earlier question about the demolition of the House of Assembly, and I've said categorically that I have no hand, I was not privy, no information. I woke up in the early hours of 30th of October to hear that the assembly had been demolished. But it's important to clarify events leading to that date. You recall that I was leader of the 10th Rivers State House of Assembly under Martin and Mayweather as Speaker. In the 9th Assembly, I was in the 8th Assembly, I was at the 9th Assembly and also the 10th Assembly. The 9th Assembly, I was the Deputy Speaker of the Rivers State House Assembly, while Martin and Mayweather was leader of the House. And so we have built this relationship, and the House has a procedure guided by the Constitution and the standing order. So we had finished screening commissioners on Friday, on Thursday, when we adjourned to a later date. So everyone went home. Peacefully, happily celebrated their constituents who had made the list. So it was not an issue. 30th, let me state it clearly, 30th October. We didn't adjourn to 30th October after we had finished sitting on Thursday the previous week. So, and let me also make a very crystal point. In the House of Assembly, after every sitting, whether they're sitting or not, after every working day. Now, after every working day, there is usually the security under the authority of Mr. Speaker. So when it is 6 p.m., nobody has access to the House of Assembly complex except Mr. Speaker on any emergency. Nobody. Meanwhile, the 29th of October was on a Sunday. So, if you say the assembly was burned down on a Sunday, go through the issues that were raised that day. In the case filed before Honorable Justice Aproko, before the Honorable Justice Obile, Federal High Court, and before the Federal High Court in Abuja, Honorable Justice Emeka Wite, we had over 10 witnesses, including men of the Nigerian police, ASP, inspector, and other ranking police officers, including civil officer, security agents that were at the gate. They stated clearly in their witness statement of oath that they saw the convoy of the speaker driving. That is why they allowed him access in the night of 29th of October. So it was very clear. Go and read through their witness statement that they allowed that night, Sunday, not even a working day, access. Don't forget, the House of Assembly is sharing proximity almost opposite the Nigerian police headquarters, the River State, Moscow Road. So it is not possible to perpetrate any offense by way of cancellations or anything. That's why they said that it was a convoy of the speaker. Who was the speaker? That's at October 29th. So that is why they opened the door, the gate, the entrance gate, and he drove in with his
Honorable Ehie,
it is only the speaker that has access to the River State House of Assembly after working hours.
What exactly are you alleging? That Honorable Amawule should be asked a question? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, because he was the speaker after that. He was the one and the only one who has access, whether in the wee hours, not to talk of a weekend. Once it is over 6 p.m., there is only one person who for emergency can access the River State Assembly complex. It is the speaker, being the presiding officer, I'll be deputy speaker. And it is there.
Let me ask, you're a lawyer, and you perhaps understand the implication when there is a judicial notice of a matter. The issue as relating to demolition of the House of Assembly had been mentioned by the Supreme Court. So there is a judicial notice, and it is being perceived that act was under the supervision, or it was done with the knowledge of Governor Fubara. As a lawyer, what is the implication of that? And the president also mentioned it.
Well, as a lawyer, with the greatest respect to our noble profession, I will not join issues with the Supreme Court. But I'm trying to give you the elementary part of what happened during this season. Do not forget that the former governor, being the SCT minister today, while inaugurating or commissioning the current residence of the speaker in the Ninth Assembly, mentioned his life there. I will send you the video. That the House of Assembly complex has become inhabitable. It has no longer become conducive to work and do business as members of the assembly. So, what happened after then? It was even an appeal from members of the assembly, staff of the assembly, that this place is no longer conducive for us to do the business of lawmaking. So that was not even the issue. But when that place was burnt down by accident, those who I cannot say are responsible, because I'm not a law enforcement agent, neither am I the courts of law. The only thing I hold dear to my heart is that several courts of competent decision has ruled and given judgment that the evidences adduced holds me to nothing as to the burden of the House of Assembly.
All right. So, Honorable, let's take a pause. Just for a moment, let's take a pause.
That's all for today's exclusive interview with Edison Ehie. The former chief of staff has denied any involvement in the burning of the State Assembly complex and has instead pointed fingers at Nwaeke, alleging a hidden agenda driven by greed. What do you think about Ehie's claims? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel.